Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Well, didn't that suck? There was nothing fun about watching that one whatsoever. I mean, I had the benefit over Charlie because I got to be down here at the Annex at the but right there by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, hanging out with all of our great close friends here at the Annex. This place is absolutely packed. Still room for you, though, as always. If you want to come on out here, Potawatomi Sportsbook Kitchen, as we always say, is unmatched. The Annex is this room right to the left as you're looking at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. They got a big bar set up, and then they got a spread of like hot dogs, burgers, chips, and that whole deal. If you don't want to choose to go get food from the Potawatomi Sportsbook, you can do it right here inside the Annex. The back wall here at the Annex is all different gambling kiosks to put your wagers on whatever games you want to bet on and so forth. But Badgers lose to High Point. Let's talk about it. Nicolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. And I don't even know where to begin. I think where we're going to begin is right here. You cannot win championships in sports. We can talk about football. We can talk about basketball. We can talk about hockey. You can pick whatever sport you want. I do not care. This applies to all. If you do not play defense, you are not going to win a championship. You may win games in the regular season. You might. You might win a little bit in the postseason. But when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, you must be able to play defense. And you can look at the NBA back in the day. D'Antonio was the coach of the Phoenix Suns with Steve Nash and Stoudemire and all those guys, and they were phenomenal regular season teams. They were good. And what happened? Then you get to the postseason, and then they get stomped on because they couldn't handle it defensively. You can talk about all the different great teams that Aaron Rodgers had, and what happens? 9 out of 10 times you're pointing at the defense as far as why you couldn't win something. We can't stop Raheem Mostert of the Niners. We can't stop the Seahawks at the end of the game. We have a special teams blunder. The offense is going to be there. If you have a good offensive team, it's going to be there. The issue is you can't stop your opponent. You're probably not going to beat your opponent. High Point deserve to win this basketball game. That's it. Plain and simple. We can sit here and be mad that High Point, won this game and beat the Badgers, and the Badgers are done again. And you can call up to the Nicolay Law Talking text line 414-677-1250 and scream and yell to fire Greg Gard, get rid of Greg Gard, get a new head coach in here that knows what they're doing. I'm sick of watching this. You can come at me with all of that stuff if you like. That's fine. He's going nowhere. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Right now, I'm looking at the Dugout YouTube chat, and we have a comment in here, a bunch of them going on right now. Lucas, Badgers suck. Another one. We got to be careful what we post here. Go Pack Go. High Point will lose by 20 plus the next game. Mr. JD, why am I not surprised by it? Still trying to figure out why the Gard followers want to keep using the regular season as a reason to keep this guy around when he continues to show nothing come tournament time. That is fair. I don't have many issues with that. We just had this stat yesterday. 8 tournament appearances since 2016 for this team. 8. The only teams that are above them are only 2. Michigan State and Purdue have 10. Michigan has 8. Those are the numbers on this bad boy, okay? So he has a job because at Wisconsin, even though it drives us nuts, national championships are just not a thing. That's where the bar is. Now, you can ask, okay, Sparky, then what should the bar be for the basketball program? Should the bar be that we're a Sweet 16 team every 3 years? Should that be the bar? Should the bar be we're happy just being a tournament team, and then, on a given year, maybe the pieces will fall into place and you make a run? Maybe that's what the bar is. I've got some bad news for you. There is no bar currently on this basketball program. There is no bar. The bar isn't at the floor level. The bar isn't at waist level. The bar's not at eye level. It's not within jumping level. It's not at the ceiling. There is no bar currently for Greg Gard to try to have to achieve at the University of Wisconsin, because Greg Gard, when he blew up, Chris McIntosh picked up the bar, threw it in the garbage, and said, Greg, you're here for as long as you want to be here, buddy, because I'm not screwing up the basketball program too. So we're going to focus on football. So while this stinks and you're disappointed, and I'm disappointed too. Look, I got the Badger shirt on, a whole deal out here at Potawatomi. It stinks, yes. But to a certain degree, we kind of almost saw it coming a little bit maybe, because the defense of this team was horrendous in the beginning of the year. The defense of this team, when they didn't play great teams, when they got going, Oregon, USC, right? They didn't show up. They weren't good. So you saw this in games where, oh boy, not good. And I'll give you another one. Those two games that I just referenced, which we talked about when this bracket came out, were what? Games in which the Badgers had to travel 2 time zones to go play. So not a good team that you're playing, and you're traveling multiple time zones to go play. So you're dealing with jet lag and getting accustomed to your time and all that other stuff that goes along with it. And they did not play well in both those games. Now you get High Point, who also is traveling multiple time zones. They're traveling 3 because they're coming from North Carolina. So they make this trip. So do the Badgers. And you look at it, and you're the 5, they're the 12. You feel good. You're like, hey, we're good. There's a chance this team may get on a run. Maybe they even beat Arizona at this point. Now, on my bracket, I don't know what y'all had. I did my bracket this morning. I had Wisconsin losing to Arkansas in the next game. So I had them no further. After this win, I had them out. Now, I don't know where y'all had them, but I didn't have as much faith in them as some did. We had multiple people come on this show and talk about Sweet 16, and they're going to have a chance against Arizona. I had them losing to Arkansas. Charlie, how far did you have them going on your bracket?
I'm not very happy right now, Sparky. I had them going Final Four. I had faith in this team. I thought if they could outscore their opponents, which today they didn't score all that bad. It definitely wasn't the top tier scoring you're used to when they were playing the Illinois, the Michigans, teams like that. But I felt like if they could get on runs here, they could definitely get through this team. They could get through Arkansas. That Arizona would be their first test. And then I thought they could beat an Arizona team because they've beaten Illinois. They've beaten the Michigans. They've beaten Michigan State. I've seen that all happen. And then today they just did what they did all season, which was play down to an opponent when it mattered.
Yeah, and that's kind of the issue as well here, is playing down. And you give them the out of traveling 2 time zones and being jet lagged because, again, High Point traveled 3 time zones, right? And that was seemingly okay for them. And they came out fired up and ready to go and continue to fight and fight and fight throughout this entire deal. Let's go to the Nikolai Law Talking text line, 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. KJ in West Allis, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up, KJ?
Hey, good afternoon, Sparky. Thanks for taking my call.
You
Man,
bet.
I just came from Potawatomi. I didn't know you were there.
What do you mean you didn't know I was here? You listen to the radio station and call in every day. How did you not know I was here?
I didn't know you was there, man. I was on the tables messing around and watching a little of the game and this and that. So, Sparky, to your point, you're absolutely right. You have to play defense, especially when you're playing in a tournament. And the prognosticators, college basketball-wise, they picked this upset. They said High Point was going to beat Wisconsin.
Who said that?
No, man.
Who?
College hoops guy. What's the guy with the furry eyebrows that he used to play?
Charlie, Charlie, help me out.
Yeah,
Who's the guy with the furry eyebrows?
Is he talking about Eagle? No, Noah Eagle?
No. He's with the guy that always says spurtability.
Man, I don't know who you're
Those
talking about,
guys.
but that's all right. So you saw somebody make the pick.
Yeah. There were like 2 or 3 people, college analysts said that High Point was going to beat them. And the thing about it is, I this is, I guess, 5 out of the last 6 times that Wisconsin was the 5 seed, they lost to the 12 seed. So I guarantee you they don't want to be a 5 seed again if they get.
Yeah, they're 1-5 in those. They're 1-5 in those matchups. KJ, 1-5 as a 5 seed. That's horrible.
Yeah, that's bad, man. Yeah, and you got 2 of the best guards in the nation, and but they don't play any defense.
Nope.
And that turnover, that call that they the High Point tried. They got the ball at the end. That was huge because they came down and they scored right after that. So,
yeah, no question.
It's disappointing, big time.
KJ, no more disappointing than knowing you were here and didn't say hi. I mean, it's kind of equally as disappointing, KJ. Equally as disappointing.
When you gonna be there again, Sparky? When you gonna be there again?
Well, I think I would have been here if they got back to the Sweet 16, but now that that's not happening, clearly, I'm not sure. But you stay tuned into Wisconsin Sports Daily. I'll let you know when we're here next time, KJ. Thanks a lot for the call. Do appreciate it. Hey, man, this is the place to be. There's a whole evening slate of games still to come tonight. Like, don't let this dampen your mood and be like, oh, screw it. I'm done. I'm not watching any more college basketball. Don't do that. You went through the trouble of filling out a bracket, regardless of whether you know what you're doing or not. Right? Even if you just put up on a wall and threw a bunch of darts at to figure out what teams you're picking, whatever, you still went through the time and effort to do it. So don't bail on it just because Wisconsin lost. Now, I can't imagine many are as goofy as Charlie using my guy and pick Wisconsin to go to the Final Four.
I saw at least 2 other people at our work that had Wisconsin winning. So but
is that because of you?
I don't think
your
so.
Work? Why? You're the sports expert. You do the afternoon show, on Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. So if Charlie has him going to the Final Four, he knows this stuff.
First of all,
we're going to go with Charlie. And then you absolutely killed their brackets with your positivity.
The majority of people have Duke winning it all, and Duke is currently down by 9 points to the 16 seed Siena. So, I
have to.
A lot of people could look real goofy no matter what. That's what this time of year is.
Yeah. Really sad. It really is. It really is. I feel bad for Greg Gard. I mean, I know I'm not supposed to feel bad for Greg Gard.
I don't know.
And all of that. But, man, you have transfer portal good guy every year. I mean, you went through this last year. And Blackwell's like, well, if I don't go pro, I'm coming back because I want to avenge being an early exit in the NCAA tournament. So he comes back again. You have Nick Boyd, who's been amazing and should have been a first-team All-Pro, first Big Ten All-Pro. And you screw it up again. And this time it's in a big South team. Last Big South team to win was Winthrop, however many years ago that was. I mean, oh, my gosh. You look inside the box score here at this. Rapp, 12 points, 4 of 9 from the field, 4 boards for him. Andrew Rohde never should have been on the floor. 6 points, 2 of 4, 2 of 3 from 3, 3 boards, 5 assists. I know Rohde's a local guy and all of that. He couldn't stay in front of anybody to save his life. He just couldn't. I think Charlie has much opportunity to stay in front of the guy he was guarding at this point.
It was bad. It was really unfortunate to watch. Just not even only him, but it felt like the entire team was just able to get bullied when it came down to the paint. The big guys were losing and not able to grab rebounds all the time. It was very inconsistent with Rapp and Winter down there, Buzelis, all these different players that Bielowski's not Buzelis. Buzelis is the Bulls player.
Bielowski's was not good either.
No, that's what I'm saying.
1 of 5 shooting. He did have 7 boards.
These guys were it felt like they were getting bullied by a team that had more energy than them. And I don't think it was because the Badgers just had no energy. This has happened before with the bad teams that they've played this season. When, again, they play down to that level, it feels like when they start losing by a little bit or they start giving up some of that ground, they get out of that form that they were in before, and all of a sudden becomes Nick Boyd spams ISO over and over again. John Blackwell spams ISO over and over again, hoping to get Rapp or Winter open in the corner so that one of those guys can take a shot. And that just doesn't work all the time, especially in games like this, where, yes, you can go back and forth like that, but when High Point is going down the other end of the court and scoring nearly as fast as you, if not faster, you can't keep up with that pace because you do have a bigger front court. You do have guys that are down there that do get tired at some point, and then you end up losing that battle in the paint. This was a very easy plan by High Point to tire out the Wisconsin Badgers, and it felt like it worked.
We talked about pace of play. We did. And their pace of play was twice as fast as Wisconsin's in the regular season. Wisconsin was like 104th, 106th in pace of play, and High Point was like 47th in pace of play. So we knew they were going to want to get out and run and push, and that's what they did. And they really got going there at the end of the game. I mean, it looked like a layup line against the Badgers' transition defense. It was god awful. And there is no way that you can tell me Greg Gard didn't know this was going to happen, that they weren't going to try and push it on Wisconsin. Like, this is something that can be coached up and so forth. But again, if you're tired and you're tired from the travel and whatever else, and you're gasping for air trying to get through the end of this, that's kind of what this whole thing goes down to. Your leading guy rebounding the basketball. You want to know who it was? A guard. John Blackwell had 10 boards. At one point, you brought back Winter for this game. You put him on the bench. After 15 minutes of floor time, he had 1 rebound in 15 minutes as a 7-footer. Can't happen. Now, he ended up with 4 boards in 21 minutes, and that was fine. They lost the rebound battle by 3 at the end of the day. But transition defense was a big, big problem for this Wisconsin Badgers team as we look at it. Even if you look at percentages shooting, Badgers shot better overall from the field, 48% to 42%. Want to know the difference there? High Point had 9 more shots attempted. 9. That's a chance at 18 more points than what you had a chance at in this game. That's a huge difference.
Maybe 27 points if you were talking about High Point, who was just shooting the rock from 3 and not missing towards the end of the game when you weren't making those same kind of shots.
Right, exactly right. So, again, just very, very frustrating at the end of the day. All right, we're going to take a quick timeout. Steve Novak coming over, Marquette legend, will join us coming up straight ahead. Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook here at the Annex, right next to the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Man, that was awfully nice of you, Charlie. That was nice. Is this in honor of Greg Gard and the Badgers?
That's what it feels like.
Yakety Sax? Is that what's going on?
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, you got the Marquette guy here, Steve Novak, feeling really good about himself right now.
No, I'm not a hater.
He comes walking over here. He's like, yeah, man, I had High Point. I was like, you're a Marquette guy. What did you expect me to pick? Come on, man. Get out of here.
Just killing me.
How many years have you picked Wisconsin to win anything?
Probably none. But that's not the point. That's not the point.
See?
Listen. Here, I'm going to show you. So you can just stop yelling at me. All right, look, I got McNeese here. Look, I picked.
Yeah, you did pick McNeese. Yeah,
Sparky.
That's good. You got Duke losing.
I have Miami of Ohio. I don't have Duke losing. They're not going to lose. And look, Wisconsin, High Point. Come on.
Now, what do you have next game?
High Point.
Arkansas then.
I got Arkansas winning.
Yeah. I had Wisconsin losing to Arkansas. So this doesn't really hurt my bracket. Now, my guy Charlie back in the studio, he had the Badgers in the Final Four, Steve Novak.
So all I'm saying is for those guys that are front runners, there's also haters like me. See, some guys blow up their brackets by picking Wisconsin all the way. Some guys, they're haters and they end up being right every once in a while.
All right, so for those of you that don't know, and you may not know, he's Mr. New York now doing Knicks games, right? So he's went to the big time dealing with James Dolan in the Madison Square Garden crowd and all of that. It is kind of interesting if you think about it. So I want to know from you. I mean, you guys made your run, obviously, with Wade and all of that, and Final Four. How big of a difference? I don't think you guys had to do this. Maybe you did. But the deal of traveling 2 time zones to go play in a region. Now, you can't really use that for Wisconsin because High Point came from North Carolina, so they went 3 time zones. But how big of a deal do you think that is in these first set of games? Because Portland time, this thing tipped off at 10:50 in the morning.
Yeah, I do think that as a basketball player, you're used to basically doing shoot around at noon, for a late game. You're used to doing shoot around if your coach keeps you on schedule, doing a 6 a.m. shoot around for a 1 o'clock tip.
Yep.
And so it's almost like time zones for most guys. It just doesn't affect you because your routine is your routine. And if shoot around is at 6 a.m. because it's an early game or if it's at noon because it's a late game, you don't know if it's, a weekday or a weekend. It's a game day and if it's a shoot around early or late and you kind of just get I would call it your control down. And so I know a lot's been made of, obviously, teams that have to travel far. I think the bigger conversation really is more the teams that just get home games.
Oh, right. Backyard games.
Yeah. Which I think, obviously, if you're putting a team in the second round, they're going to be playing, 60 miles from their home arena. I think in basketball, it's proven that home court in basketball versus any other sport is a bigger advantage. And so I don't think you should be handing guys, their full alumni base being able to be there. But I do think most guys can play at noon, they can play at 2, they can play in a different time zone and be okay as long as they got a few days notice knowing when the heck their game is.
So it's Steve Novak out here at the Potawatomi Sportsbook in the Annex area, right next to the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Plenty of room for you out here. Come on out, watch some college basketball, hang out. Lots of great food at the Potawatomi Sportsbook kitchen. Unmatched good stuff. They got a bar set up here in the Annex, more food in the Annex. Wall of gambling kiosks you can do as well. Come get a picture with Mr. Marquette, Steve Novak, with this Marquette jacket on. Man, you are unbelievable.
Come on.
You are unbelievable,
well,
man.
D-Wade gifted us the jackets. We were in the Final Four. Today's a retrospective kind of day.
Yeah.
You're supposed to live your life looking forward and not talking about the past. NCAA tournament time, that's just
not true.
That's not the case. We don't have a choice.
No, that could not be true. No,
so,
absolutely
I'm
not.
Sorry, I had to.
I led off the show by saying, I don't care what sport it is. We could be talking baseball. We could talk National Football League. We could talk hockey, whatever. You are not going to win a championship if you do not play good defense consistently throughout that run. You can win in the regular season, right? You can get by in the regular season because not everybody's playing at the same level, game in and game out, long season, whatever. But once you get to this point, you just have to play better defense. And pace of play, we knew going in, High Point was at like 47-48. Wisconsin was at like 103 or 104. So you knew what the strategy was going to be, and essentially they wore Wisconsin down.
I did, and I think, your point about the defense being so important to me, it's so important for multiple reasons depending on the matchup. And in that Wisconsin versus High Point matchup, to your point, I think the defense matters because if you're a 12 seed and all of a sudden you're down by 10 early, the game's probably over. You're not going to come back. But if you're playing good defense and it keeps you in the game, all of a sudden you got yourself a battle.
Right.
And because that is how they kept it. It was a 2-point game at half. And then, late in the game, the last 4 minutes just became a shootout where these guys are like, we are those guys. We can make shots. We can play with these guys.
Yep.
We're not giving it up now. This is our we're going to be on, NCAA commercials for the rest of our lives if we could just make this happen. And so I think, to your point, the defense for them was that it kept them in the game long enough for them to believe. And in a lot of cases, I think the defense for very good offensive, high-powered, high-ranked, top-dog teams, it starts their offense. It's what makes them so good. They get the steal, they get the deflection, and now the offense, you never have to run a half-court set. You're out running, pushing the pace. So it is, defense is where it starts. Although I never really bought in my career, Sparky, I do think you're making a great point.
Selling yourself short. It's fine. So Mitch Nutter-Nelson was here earlier watching the game, and he came running over right before I went on the air. And he's like, hey, that guy that hit that shot at the end for High Point hadn't hit a 2-point basket the entire season. All he had hit were threes. Hit like 64, 65 threes in the season. Not a single basket until that transition basket there at the end.
I love that. A man of my own heart.
Right.
Just out there shooting bombs.
Threes.
The best part to me is when there's a guy like that who just shoots bombs, and obviously I can relate, but you can keep doing it. It's like the other team knows that that's all you're going to do, and somehow your offense is good enough, your facilitators are good enough, your movement is good enough that you can just keep doing it. I love that. And obviously it has a lot to do with being able to counter it with the big guys and what sets you're running. But 1 2-point make and the one that you get is the run out price
to win it,
just
to get a huge upset.
It was so close to being an offensive rebound for Wisconsin.
Yes.
I would have closed it, would have probably finished it. And instead it's just a runaway layup.
Yeah, Steve Novak joins us out here at the Potawatomi Sportsbook in the Annex area. Steve Sparky Fifer with you, Wisconsin Sports Daily here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Let's talk about Greg Gard for a second. So this basketball team under Greg Gard since 2016 has been to the NCAA tournament 8 times, them in Michigan. Then the only 2 teams more than them in the Big Ten that we can talk about right now is Michigan State and Purdue. They've both been there 10 times. However, Greg Gard struggles to get out of the first weekend on a consistent basis. I think it's only happened twice of his now 8 tries that he's gotten out of the first round, and now this upset here. I mean, from a Badger fan perspective, you can well imagine they've had their fill of, okay, this is great, you can get us here, but you can't seem to get us any further, and that's knowing that he's had a tremendous amount of success in the portal for the last 3 years. I mean, he gets Boyd this year, got Time J the year before that. He had A.J. Storr the year before that. I mean, he's had a tremendous amount of success, but then struggles in the tournament. How much value do you put on that if you're a university to making the tournament as much as he had versus the lack of advancing in the tournament over the same amount of time?
I think it all comes down to perspective, which I think is shaped by expectation. And I think it's not unique to Wisconsin or to Coach Gard. I think that's just across the board in sports. If you're in the same conversation like you just said with Purdue and Michigan State, and those are 2 programs with 2 coaches that are the most respected that there is out there in all of NCAA hoops. And then you're saying, right, Greg Gard is right there with them with NCAA appearances. I think that the expectation then is what takes over. So now, because he's gotten the Badgers to the NCAA tournament that consistently, is the expectation that we need to win in the tournament. We need to win more. I just would give the example of other programs that aren't making the NCAA tournament would die to be going to the NCAA tournament on a consistent basis. But yes, obviously, if there is a consistent ceiling that you're seeing, it's a natural move for a program, a franchise, or whatever to say, look, we got to do something to get past this. I think about, you brought up the Knicks. I'm doing the Knicks.
Right.
You think about Coach Tom Thibodeau last year has the best season in New York Knicks history.
Yep.
They didn't think he could take them to that next level. And so thanks for the best season that we've had all.
Bye-bye.
And we're moving on because the expectation is there needs to be a championship, but we don't think you're the guy. And so I just think that's what it comes down to. Coach Gard, he knows what he's doing. He's doing a better job than most coaches out there. But I agree. Seeing a first-round loss to High Point, yeah, it's a stinger. It's a big stinger.
The nice thing about having known Steve Novak as long as I can anticipate answers and then set him up then for a follow-up question. And since you're the Marquette guy, I thought that was a good question because Tom Crean turned that into a perennial NCAA tournament team, even after you guys with a fabulous threesome with Dominique James and those guys after. And then Buzz Williams comes in, and that works. And again, tournament. And then Woj came in, and it flatlined at that point. So even from a Marquette fan base, it's like, yeah, okay, you can want, but it can go away just as quickly as you have it. And the football program at Wisconsin is experiencing that right now.
Yeah. No, it really is true. And to your point about Marquette, look, for the last 4 years before this year, you're talking about no transfer portal guys. You're talking about the same starting five essentially for, we'll call it 5 straight years. You got guys getting drafted every year. You got Cam Jones, you got Tyler Kolek, you got Oso, you got Omen. So to your point, now this year they're saying the worst season in Marquette's history. And at the time meaning the last 4 years, me as an alumni, me as someone who's been a part of that program that has ownership in it, I'm watching the way he's running that program, and I'm going, I like that he's not bringing guys in over other guys. I like that he's bringing in high character guys. I like that the group that I'm watching as an alumni, as a fan, is consistent. I have someone I can cheer for as a freshman, that's the sophomore, junior, that you bond with and you want to go see year after year. I think it's really hard to do that, and it's impossible essentially now. I think we're at the point it's impossible to run a program that way and to not bring guys in over other guys, and you're not really recruiting many freshmen, although guys like Coach Cal are saying, I do it because I want to, and Coach Few and Coach Izzo are saying, I want to still bring in the freshmen. Well, we'll see if you're still bringing in freshmen and you're developing them.
Let's take that to another stand, because you have a son, right?
Yep.
Getting recruited, whatever the case may be.
Yep.
That is going to affect a lot of guys
big time
that are going to have to maybe not go play in that power school, have to play a lower D1 or play a D2 or D3 JUCO school and then work their way back into it at the end of the day. So while, people that are fans that don't have kids are like, oh, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. But those of us that have kids, you're like, man, you're screwing a lot of kids out of opportunities that could have had an opportunity right away that freshman year.
Yeah, even getting to your point, getting your mind around what is the model, like what is this NCAA environment now? What does it look like? To your point, for me, I was at Brown Deer High School. Coach Tom Crean came in and was recruited me and said, we believe in you, even though you're a sophomore in high school. You're going to be our guy as a freshman in college, and we love you. And he was doing that with other guys too. And the other coaches, Bill Self and Billy Donovan, that were coming in, they were saying that same thing to me as a young high school kid. And now, to your point, it is going to be a different path where it is going to be going to maybe a Division II, maybe a more of a mid-major school and proving yourself. I think the part that's not different, and I think about it from the perspective of having a son, and to your point, anyone who has a kid who is, hey, we're dreaming of being in athletics in college. I do think that, my message to my son is, no matter if the timeline gets bumped 2 more years, where freshman year of college and sophomore year of college is no longer you're going to Marquette or you're going to Florida or you're going to Illinois, wherever you're going, wherever you go, where you're wanted, and you continue to develop and you continue to get better, then that timeline gets bumped a little bit from being a senior committing to a high D1 to now you have to prove it in other ways for a couple more years, and then you get there. And so it is different. It's certainly not the same as it was when I was coming up, but I do think the message is keep getting better, because if you do, unless they allow college athletes to be 30, which we are trending that way, I hope it goes back the other way, then there's still going to be a spot and a time for you. It's just not the same as it was 20 years ago.
Talking with Marquette legend Steve Novak, New York Knicks announcer as well, joining us here on Wisconsin Sports Daily on Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. I'm going to put you on the spot again. Having this conversation earlier today. Parents talking to parents earlier today.
Yeah.
So your kid goes D1, let's say he goes to Wisconsin. He's a Badger. First year, dumb play. Dad, he ain't playing me. I want to go somewhere else. I want to go play somewhere else. What do you do? How do you handle it?
So when I was in that position as a college athlete and my coach was pushing me and it was harder than I thought.
I heard rumblings that you may have walked away your freshman year, that you were so frustrated.
Which 100%, and it's not unique.
It was you and Diener, I think, is the story I heard.
That's and put a name, pick a name.
Yeah.
There's not a guy who played for a high D1 coach who was worth what he was being paid, who wasn't getting guys to say this is too hard, or I'm not good enough, or I'm going to quit.
Right.
That's exactly what I signed up for. Even though you kind of didn't realize it at the time. You're like, I want to get better. I want to win a national championship. I want to get drafted.
But you didn't want to go to a gym at 1 a.m.
He had plans for me in the weight room that I never even dreamed of. And he wanted me to guard. He wanted me to rebound. And God bless, because, look, I ended up having an 11-year NBA career. So I think, to your point, now I believe the answer is yes, you do put your name in the portal when it's difficult, when you're feeling disrespected, when you're playing behind a Dwayne Wade, or you're playing behind in my case, a Todd Townsend.
Right.
I can't believe I'm not the starting guy. I'm transferring. I'm going to go find this NIL money. I'm going to go to whoever the highest bidder is, and I'll show them. Well, it obviously worked for me to stay and to get better and to be pushed through some adversity. And yes, that part of college athletics in a lot of places is going to be lost because of the advice, because of what people's decisions are to say, yeah, leave, transfer.
And there are some kids that get out of D1 football, more football maybe than basketball, but get out, go in the portal, and then don't get any other D1 offers. And then it's like, oh no, now what am I going to do? And now all of a sudden you're paying for school and you're trying to figure out what to do next. And you totally screwed it up where you could have just sat on the depth chart and try to figure it out and work your way through it. And then so many kids screw everything up potentially athletically, what they had in front of them.
Yeah, and I think in my opinion, the ultimate reality of it is that if every time something becomes difficult, you run away from it and you try to make a change, you're likely not going to end up where you dreamed of getting.
Yep.
And so I'm so thankful, honestly, that the time that I played in the NCAA was the time that I played in the NCAA where your coaches could talk to you in a kind of way where there wasn't social media in the locker room, where you handled things internally. And yes, guys were being pushed to the point that they quit every single year.
If the players today played for Crean when you were a freshman, how many of those players stay after the freshman year? How many of those players are on Instagram and TikTok just venting about what the hell is going on? I mean, y'all listening have no idea what this team went through. And we're not going to get into details. I'm just telling you, it was brutal. And y'all got through it and got yourself to a Final Four. And like you said, you got to the NBA. Travis got to the NBA. He played overseas. He's coaching and doing stuff now. Like a lot of you all got successful careers out of this afterwards.
And I think, obviously – you're naming the D Wades and the me's and the Travises, the guys that played in the NBA. But honestly, to your point, if you look at that full roster of guys, the Todd Townsends who played, I don't know how long overseas, a decade or more. Joe Chapman played a decade or more overseas. Those guys, it's like we still get together. We're still bonded. We still went. Obviously, people don't want to hear us talk about, it was so difficult. It was so hard.
But you know what, though? If we talk about that team, we talk about the transfer portal, you don't get the big man in the transfer,
100%.
It's over. Jackson don't come. That probably does not play out that way. It's probably not a Final Four team without him.
No, 100%.
He was huge.
I mean, how many points did he get? 25 points against Marquise Estel against Kentucky in the Elite Eight game. And Marquise Estel said that he was asked before the game in the week leading up about Marquette's big man, Rob Jackson, and Marquise Estel said, I don't know that name. I'm not sure who that is. If you want to talk about bulletin board material,
that was it.
Coach Crean was in there. Rob, here's the article. He said he doesn't know your name. He doesn't even know who you are. You sat out an entire year, transferred from Mississippi State. You've been killing all year, putting up big games, and he doesn't know your name. He went out there. D Wade had the 29, 11, and 11 triple-double. I made 5 or 7 threes, something. But Rob Jackson, let me tell you, that was the star. D Wade got the attention, but Rob was out there taking names.
I bet you he was.
He gave him the Muhammad Ali. You're going to say my name. What's my name? I'm telling you, he did. What's my name?
That's awesome. Steve Novak joining us. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Thanks for coming over, man. I appreciate it.
Great to be on with you.
Just got a text from Thunder, said Sienna has not subbed in 31 minutes.
They're putting it all on the table.
That is not sub. People are watching from the bench. Back after this, Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Fiber with you. Hanging out here at the Annex, right next to the Potawatomi Sportsbook, Potawatomi Casino Hotel. All eyes still on that Duke-Siena game. Duke up 63-61 right now in the second quarter, which is kind of crazy. Vandy, and talking about McNeese State, Vandy's up 6 on them. That's about 12 minutes to go in the second quarter right now. So those are the two games that all eyes are on. Obviously, the Badgers lose to High Point earlier today. It came down to the end, but still kind of semi-embarrassing, I would say. 5 losing to the 12, even though it's tradition of the NCAA tournament. And even though after that loss, Wisconsin has now 1-5 as a 5 seed. 1-5 as a 5 seed are the Badgers. Not necessarily a good thing at the end of the day for the Badgers. And again, Greg Gard is going to get absolutely, ambushed here by his fan base, by his alumni, by everybody involved. You can always say, nice guys finished last. Not only is Gard getting this team to the NCAA tournament on a regular basis, but he's beloved by everybody that's kind of around him in Madison. And they all love the dude and the stuff that he stands for and what he does and so forth. And I think that also adds in more cushion to everybody that says, oh, get rid of him. And again, as we've talked about ad nauseum, with Fickell being as bad as he is, McIntosh cannot afford to make another big dramatic move. Anton in the Dugout YouTube chat, follow us on YouTube and on X at WI Sports Radio, says, unfortunately, this is typical Wisconsin basketball. They play to their talent level and behold, an upset today, not surprised. Yeah, they played down to the talent level of whoever they're playing. I think that's a very fair take at this point. And, the other thing, too, about this as we talk about Wisconsin and kind of what's next is now you're going to lose Blackwell. Now you're going to lose Nick Boyd. And you're going to lose some guys. And you're kind of going to have start over next year with this Badgers basketball team. And there's going to be another learning process. And I would think Greg Gard, when they get to their fall practices before the season starts, it's going to be about defense. They're not even going to worry about offense. We're not even coaching offense until the season starts. We're only coaching defense. There will be no basketballs bounced around. We're only playing defense going forward because transition defense was atrocious today. Badgers lose to High Point. Coming up next, Green and Gold update brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, where we are right now here at the Annex. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Steve Sparky Fiber with you. Charlie Usen back in the studios. In Hale's Corners. Don't go anywhere. 1 hour to go.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome in. We are here at the Annex at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel right next to the Potawatomi Sports Book. So you're looking at the sports book, look to your left. There's an open room. There's no doors or anything. You walk in, there's TVs everywhere, 3 gigantic TVs on one wall, smaller TVs around. They got a bar area set up. They got a table with a bunch of like hot dogs and candy and hamburgers and chips and all of that. All reasonably priced, like $5-6, whatever the case is. Good pricing. Got a bar area set up, like I said, and after that Badger game, we all need drinks. Then they have the back wall set up with all the gambling kiosks. Guys are lined up gambling on the games at hand, games that are coming up tonight on the evening slate. And joining us now is our guy, Ahek. Just hit his open. Like I feel weird doing it without his open. Hit his open.
It's time to follow the money with Austin Herdina, the sportsbook manager of the Potawatomi Sportsbook on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, The Fan.
It's my favorite open.
It's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, it's my favorite open. I love that song too, so it all works together. So I want to know this. So, and we talked about this during Packers season, I guess. Brewers, maybe a little bit, we touched on this. But when you got a local team and they're playing, and people can't gamble on Wisconsin here at Pato, so that really doesn't help you, hurt you one way or the other.
Right.
You got on the Badger stylish tie and all of that. Like, are you just full Badger fan mode at that point, or are you looking at the next part of the bracket of, okay, winner gets Arkansas, everybody's going to bet Arkansas against High Point if they win this game. If it's the Badgers, we have a better chance of the money being split, which is more advantage Potawatomi. Like, how do you view that from what you do for a living?
My heart is with Wisconsin, right? I mean, I'm devastated we lost. I really thought we had it with a late 8-point lead. Thought we were going to get it, but just couldn't finish it. But, the room itself is just so fun with just all the bettors, but also just the fans of Wisconsin. I mean, we had people that wanted to come in and, they're here just to watch Wisconsin. We have a lot of other people that are here because they want to watch and bet on all the games. And we had some great opening games already. I mean, if you didn't have money on the Badgers or you didn't care with your heart, I mean, it was a really good game to watch. And then
Siena.
And Siena right now.
5-point game. Duke's going to win it. They're up by 5 with 8 seconds to go, 7 seconds to go, 6 seconds to go. I don't know. It just keeps changing.
Yeah, Duke wins by 6.
Yeah, so It's over?
Yep.
Yeah, Duke wins by 6. So there you go. Duke survives against Siena, who at one point didn't sub for over 30 minutes in this game.
Oh, man, 28-point favorite Duke was. They were losing with, 6 minutes left?
Yeah.
Came back to win the game. But, I mean, that's what March is all about, right? I mean, it's so fun because you got to play the games. Like a team like Siena, no one gave them a chance, but they believed. And, they won their conference tournament. They came in with high expectations. Obviously, you're playing a team like Duke. You don't expect a close game like this for the fans, at least. But, we got it. It was a fun game to watch. We got Vanderbilt and McNeese, 5-point game with 5 minutes left. Arkansas is handling Hawaii pretty good right now, and Michigan State up 15 on North Dakota State. But, yeah, just fun to have all the games at once and be able to see them all. It's a great atmosphere as well.
Like Austin for what he did for a living and like his mind and his thought process and so forth. The brackets even come out. You already like a bunch of people are bet on 12s because 12s are normally upset at 5 all the time. So we're gonna get a lot of that. We're gonna have random people taking shots at the 16, 15, open and praying. But are you more or less gambling on the fact that you come out is seeing those people picking a lot of chalk teams that eventually are going to fall? Is that how do you view it as far as how Pato makes as much money as possible?
There's a lot of people that like the 12-5 matchup. They look into those, the 12s
Especially like that. 5 is a box seat now.
Oh, it's rough. I know. Some losses, but teams better than Oregon.
That's a real good
All right.
We don't have to do that. Oh.
But yeah, it's fun, and the live betting is a really good aspect too. I mean, you got a team like Duke that, they were, like I said, 28.5 point favorite. They were, you had to bet $100 to win $1 on them before the game. And during the game, it got down to as low as minus like 250. So, I mean, if you're someone that believed Duke would come back and win, you could have made some money on that. But yeah, I mean, as far as the matchups go going into it, we have a lot of people that love to bet just who's going to win the whole tournament, who's going to win their region. You can bet on things like, who to make it to the Sweet 16 or make it to the Elite 8, etc. So many different options on just how to bet these games, or even like the total number, the seed total, the sum of the seeds in the Final Four.
What?
The line was 8.5. The sum of the seeds.
So if it's 4 ones, then the number you think is 4.
Yeah, so you take under 8.5.
So if one double-digit seed makes it, it's over.
It's over, yeah. So, I mean, basically that low number, 8.5. I mean, I know in past years I remember like 11.5, 12.5.
Mine would be 5. I've got 3 1 seeds in Iowa State.
Yeah, so 8.5 is definitely a low number. But, I mean, I think everyone's picking 1, 2, 3. I mean, there's not many people, maybe St. John's is a 5 seed. Kansas has a 4.
How much do you buy into BYU, into Bonsta? Because I think everybody wants Bonsta to go as far as possible. But BYU is not a very good team, I don't think.
Well, they lost Richie Saunders, and he was a fantastic senior player for them, and just a huge loss there. So can he do it himself? Like, I think they can win a game, maybe 2, but I don't see BYU going much further than that.
You talk about the guys that are potentially the stars, like at Arkansas. That's all right. That was the first 2 scores. It's busted with 2 pounds of marijuana. That could shake things up a little bit.
Yeah, we saw that line move a little bit, points down from what they were. I mean, they're still playing, still 4 seed. They're still a good team. They're still expected to win their first game, but can they win a couple of games?
Yeah, no doubt. I talk about we do our thing from Saturdays. Doing it today because we're about of the Potawatomi Sportsbook. That's what Potawatomi Sportsbook. That was at last check was sold out today. It is sold out tomorrow, and I had heard limited seats available for the weekend.
Yeah, very limited for Saturday right now. Sunday is going to be first come, first serve. We're not going to do reservations. We want to see
why.
Why are we not doing it? We want to see how that would go. Just leave it open for everyone to come in.
About? So are you? You know what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what you're doing. You're going to be Walmart on Black Friday from 10 years ago. You're going to have people sleeping overnight in that sports book and being there all morning and not moving. They're not going to have showered. They're going to be stinky, but they're not going to want to give up their seat because they want to enjoy the entire day on Sunday. You're putting yourself out there a little bit, buddy. I'm a little concerned.
I love our diehard fans. Okay?
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I love our diehards. No, but it's good to just allow anyone in and see how that goes. It wasn't a decision that I made, but the leadership group wanted to do that for Sunday. See how it goes. But yeah, Friday and Thursday today, it's just been sold out and been really awesome for everyone that's been booked in there.
But wait a second.
Yeah.
So if you do it that way, then that nominal fee that you all collect on these tables, you're not getting that either then.
Correct.
So now somebody could come sit there and drink water for 8 hours and you don't get any of that? That doesn't seem to make much sense to me either.
Well,
y'all should consult with me. Charlie, make sure they have my number over here at Potawatomi so they can consult with me on things like that.
Sure, they got
I'll
your
make
number.
sure that we do that. Our restaurant manager, Zach, we'll make sure to consult you next time.
I remember I used to do Packer parties, and we would do like tic-tac-toe during the game, give away prizes and all that. And we would do them at like different bars and restaurants. Like one year we were at Quaker Steak and Lube. One year we were at like Dave & Buster's, whatever. And I'd always hear the same thing. This is great and all, but they started at 3 o'clock and people have been sitting here since we opened at 10 o'clock because they didn't want to have a table and then drinking water for 3 or 4 hours. And we've got to figure out something else to do with that. And then at one point, Dave & Buster's got the ticket, NFL Sunday ticket. Well, now they got people sitting there all day sipping on a couple of sodas and that's it. And they're like, we have to figure out how we're going to move these tables and get these people away from our bar to get people in here. That's all I have in the back of my head right now as we're talking about like one of the biggest. Now, you haven't made a decision for next weekend yet.
So next Thursday, Friday.
Still have to reserve?
Still have to reserve. I believe.
Okay, good.
I don't know if we have Saturday and Sunday available yet, but we're going to.
Okay, so go online, reserve Potawatomi.com. Nominal fee goes towards your food and beverage. As I've talked about a million times, 48 beers on tap, dozen different specialty cocktails, homemade pastries and desserts every day here at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel. All kinds of food. Now, you guys shorten the menu a little bit on days like this, right? Is that what I saw?
I believe we still have the full menu.
Good. Okay, so all-day brunch normally with the Potawatomi Sportsbook Kitchen, too. Just amazing food. Everything you order, you're going to love. Plus, they have all these fine dining restaurants around. I tell people, Austin, get yourself a hotel room for a couple of nights, and then you don't even got to leave the property all weekend. Get a hotel room for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You can start here on Thursday and be here all weekend.
You just hang around in a T-shirt and shorts.
Yes.
I mean,
right.
it'd be like being at your house. We got
exactly.
We got couches right in front of us watching the games. Yeah,
those big, comfy, like recliner looking things in the sports book too.
Those are nice.
Those are nice.
Yeah, those. I wish I had one of those in my house.
Right, they're sweet. Right.
Well, whenever we get new furniture, because we always go through things, right? So eventually, when we get new furniture, I got to call dibs on one of those.
Yeah, or just be a furniture tester.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's an idea.
Be a furniture tester. Who are you picking? Who's your Final Four?
My Final Four didn't look great today, but I like Duke to come out of that region.
I got Duke winning it, so
okay.
I feel your pain.
I like Arizona coming out of their region. I think they're going to win it all. That's my championship.
Oh, yeah, Arizona.
I do. I'm going on a limb on this one. I think I got Kentucky coming out of their region. Just watch. Just wait. Okay, don't judge.
I like Mark Pope, but
just wait. Okay.
Okay.
Michigan's tough. They're gonna.
I mean, you were right about the Bears multiple times. So who am I to judge you on anything at this point?
And then that last region.
Oh, damn. I should have. I had to buy him a tie and bring it today. Charlie, why didn't you remind me of that?
Why am I supposed to always remind you of that
stuff?
That's not my fault. That's your fault.
Because you're my Charlie. No, Charlie, you are my work wife. And that's what the job responsibilities of a work wife are. You've got to remind me of stuff like this. It's yours. It's all yours. You can tell everybody you're Sparky's work wife.
Oh,
okay, sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry. I owe you a Bears tie. I'll get you a Bears tie. All right, go ahead.
And then the last region, I like Houston. I think they
Calvin Sampson.
Yeah, they got a good team there. It could be a Big 12 championship. Could be Arizona and Houston again.
I got Iowa State beating Arizona, I believe, on that side, and then I got Duke beating Houston.
Okay, yeah.
And I think that Duke-Houston game would be unbelievable.
So you got a lot of
3 1s and a 2. Yeah, 3 1s and a 2. Iowa State's the only 2. And if I'm being honest, it's only because I'm boys with Otzelberger and I've known him for a while. So, Thomas More guy, local guy. So rolling with them. I've watched them play 4 or 5 times. I think they've lost twice while I've watched them play. But I'm a jinx. I just won't watch them, and it'll be fine. That's how this goes.
No, you're not a jinx. You're good.
Charlie.
You're a jinx. You're like the jinx. The only jinx in this whole damn town.
I mean, you did wear the Wisconsin. You did wear a Wisconsin shirt today.
Dude, there's a shirt under this. A 2-pack shirt. You don't have time.
Yeah, I don't have the tie on. Together, we got the whole ensemble.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
It's a tough. I'm just still a little bitter about it.
Fine. But you just over here wearing his Marquette jacket and the whole deal.
I talked about it.
Tie point. Smart guy, pick tie point. I'm like, you went to Marquette. When have you ever picked Wisconsin? Oh, never. I'm not giving you credit.
It's such a taller person. I don't know what it is.
He looks shorter.
I figured he was people. Sure, I didn't think he was like a tall. I know.
Yeah, how tall are you?
I'm 6'4".
That's so tall.
I feel tiny there.
Austin Herdina, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Go online, reserve Sunday. Bring your tents, camp out here at Potawatomi. So it's first come, first serve on Sunday.
Thanks for coming to my house.
Your house. It's a bigger house than I got. I'll tell you that much. A lot bigger than the radio station, Charlie. Thank you so much. Take a quick time out. Come back on the other side. Charlie, sounds of the day straight ahead here on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Fiber with you out here at the Annex, right next to the Potawatomi Sportsbook, Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Well, y'all are doing okay. I know you're not, though, if you're a Badgers fan, because they lose to High Point today. Now 1-5 as a 5 seed. Absolutely ugly. As we talked about at the beginning of the game, we talked about Steve Novak as well. You cannot win if you don't play defense. And they did not play defense or transition defense for that matter. You can't have your best big have one rebound in his first 15 minutes on the court in Nolan Winter. And I understand he's coming off of injury, and he was probably on a count of some sort. He only played 21 minutes, but that also is a problem. Your leading rebounder is a guard. Not Belauskas, not Rapp. Blackwell had 10. That was your leading rebounder. Like, there were a lot of issues. They took 9 more shots than did the Wisconsin Badgers in this basketball game. That also is a problem for the Wisconsin Badgers. And now they've got to figure out what happens next year because his backcourt is gone in Boyd and Blackwell. And now they have to start figuring out what the future looks like for Wisconsin. And now, again, 8 appearances since 2016 in the NCAA tournament, and only but a couple of times has Greg Gard's Badgers team actually gotten out of the first round of the tournament, which is absolutely disappointing. Time now for Charlie's segment of the day.
What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, Charlie, where are we going first?
All right, so first up, we are going to stick with the NCAA tournament, and we're going to hear from NCAA President Charlie Baker when he was on Golic and Golic discussing why the tournament expansion that he is planning on will be good for mid-major schools.
I'm an old guy, right? So I remember when it was 16 and how terrified people were when it went to 32, and then how terrified they were when it went to like 40, and then how terrified they were when it went to 64. Division I's a lot bigger than it used to be. That 19, 20, 21% of schools in the tournament, I think, is a reasonable place to be. And the other thing I would say is I think it's really important for us to retain access to the tournament to the so-called mid-majors and the non-power conference schools. And those power conferences, as we all know, are a lot bigger than they used to be. They compete against each other in a way that I think everybody would describe as interconference, a lot of interconference at the start of the season, a lot of people putting markers down with respect to how they're doing, and then they have very tough conference schedules. So it's hard for a lot of the mid-majors to get an opportunity to play them and build some of the broader credibility that they might need to play in and win one of those games. And if you look at what Miami went through, trying to get some of the power conference schools onto their schedule, or some of the higher ranked teams onto their schedule this year after they won 25 games last year, it just sort of speaks to the challenges that are associated with that. And I think if you made the tournament a little bigger, gave people a little more confidence, it'd be okay to lose a game or two along the way.
Stupid. Absolutely stupid. I don't understand what goes through a person's brain to come up with that logic of why we need to expand this. The way we're going, he's going to allow every single team into the NCAA tournament.
That's kind of what he was saying.
Hey, you won 5 games? No worries. You're in. We're all going to play, and it's going to take us 2 months to get through this tournament, but we're all going to play. Every team is going to get a home game in the tournament, and then once we get everybody done with their home games, then we'll start moving to neutral locations as teams are eliminated. I don't understand. Like, for years, people have complained about how many teams make the NBA playoffs. So what did the NBA do? Let's create a play-in tournament and add 3 more teams to this bad boy. Oh, that was well received by the fans. Then the NFL, who was out here over here going, nope, we're not doing it. They started adding. Baseball, they started adding too before the NFL started adding, with Bud Selig adding wild cards and realigning in division winners and adding division. That was all part of it. The reason why these people continue to do this is simple. Money. If we have all these additional college basketball games, what does that mean? That means 12 other streaming services get to show basketball games. Everybody gets to show basketball games. You get a game, and you get a game, and you get a game, and each game costs you $1 million, whatever the case may be, and you can go sell it amongst yourself to see what happens between McNeese State and Norfolk State, and good luck selling it. It's all yours. Enjoy on your streaming service. That is what's happening. You're adding teams not because for the benefit of the fans who are sitting here watching the games or sitting on your couch watching the game. You're adding all of these schools to increase the TV money, to increase streaming rights money, to make it more international. Because that's the other thing. How many international kids are playing college basketball right now? Go look at that High Point roster from today. They got guys from Senegal, from Spain, from all over the globe playing on that High Point basketball team. So continue to blow up the tournament, continue to make it as bigger and better than ever, and make more and more and more money. That is what that is all about. It's certainly not about making it a better product, Charlie.
No, not at all. And I think when I hear something like this and he puts the mid-majors out there kind of as the scapegoat for why he wants to do this, I think that's completely unfair to them too. A lot of these teams come into this tournament and have games like High Point just did against Wisconsin Badgers, and that's enough to get them in the tournament or get them the recognition they deserve from the tournament. And I feel like a lot of these teams, because they already get that auto bid from winning their conference tournaments, you're in there already. 64 teams is way too many in the first place. You're already giving some teams that don't deserve to be in this tournament a chance to be in this tournament. You saw the way Troy played against Nebraska earlier today. They did not deserve to be in this tournament, but because they won their conference tournament, they end up there and they get to be there. And that you have moments like that. So yes, you have your High Points, but you also have your Troys, and the majority of these teams are Troys. And the fact that you get 1 to 2 High Points is enough to boost not only that school, but those conferences too for the next 5 years.
How many conferences do you think there are in Division I basketball?
There's Power 5 for basketball, and then 12 probably.
More
than that. 15.
More.
20.
More.
25.
More.
30. I'm going to keep going up by 5.
31 Division I men's basketball conferences. 31. So if you said every conference champion gets in and every second place team gets in, that's 64.
You're there.
And we're done. We're done.
Two more random teams at the end, yeah.
We're all done. But they don't want to do that. Why? Because these other smaller schools don't have as big a fan bases, don't have as much money invested in the program and so forth, and maybe don't have the boosters that are in positions of power to spend on advertising or positions of power to make decisions on if they want to spend the money for a streaming service because they're running a streaming service and so forth, right? So that's why you don't want to go play in the small pool. We're using all 31 conferences. Instead, you want to have 7 or 8 or 9 from one big power conference where all the money is tied into and where the biggest fan bases are at, Charlie.
Yeah, and I guess that makes sense for the NCAA. Again, at the same time, you see the way these bowl games are starting to fold on the football side of things and how they kept adding those because they kept getting sponsorships. They kept getting streaming deals for those games. And then now teams, don't want to play in a random bowl game that's in the middle of nowhere, or they just don't have the players to do that, or that sponsorship just isn't making enough money from these teams playing in their bowl. I feel like you get the same kind of thing happening if you expand the tournament. Again, there's already too many games. You can't watch every first round game unless you are sitting there with 2 computer screens full of games. And that's almost impossible to do on its own. There cannot be that much more money when you add that many more teams.
All right, what's the second sound clip? Because we talked quite a while on that one. What else you got?
Next up, we're going to hear from Ken Rosenthal. He was hitting on a topic that we talked about yesterday on his own show, Fair Territory, where he was discussing the USA team in the World Baseball Classic not caring as much as some of the other countries and why that is nonsense.
This whole notion of the other countries want it more, well, I would say the Dominican Republic probably wanted it more than the United States, but did they win? No, they got beat by the United States because guess what? The U.S. guys wanted it too. So it's so funny to me. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we had the unwritten rules. We were talking about celebrations by certain players in a negative way. Oh my gosh, how can he do that? It's an offense to the game. Now, if you don't do that, that's an offense to the game. Yeah. Just stop it. These guys care
make
a lot.
up your mind. All you need to know, America, is that we got a massive smile and a woo out of Paul Skeens. That's how much they care. Paul Skeens smiled.
So lame. Really is. Like, first of all, back to what Rosenthal said. There are two different ways to want something. Right? You can want a raise at your job, and you work 8 hours and you do your thing and you bust your butt for those 8 hours. Then there are others that really want it at your job, and they're putting in 10, 11, 12 hours and doing all this extra work trying to prove their merit to their boss. Who wants it more, right? Who has more of a passion for getting that raise or getting that promotion or getting to wherever that they want to be? And it could be in any walk of life. It could be in a factory. It could be in a doctor's office. It can be wherever. It doesn't even matter. So when we talk about this, you're telling me you don't think these guys have been thinking about the World Baseball Classic for the last 3-4 years, about how when they get back, it's going to be different this time? You don't think the coach of Venezuela, who told his wife, I'm only doing it one more time and then I'll retire, because she was sick of dealing with him and because they got beat early the last time, he said, one more time, we're going to win it, and then I'm done. You don't think that was a thing? We played the sound clips yesterday about this whole deal. Or no, earlier in the week. It's today's Thursday already?
Yeah,
Holy crap.
yeah, we're flying by this market.
About, they're talking about, it's in God's hands. And they were talking about we talking to God and this and that and every other thing. And then talking about it's more than that. It's about 30 million people in our country. And it's about families and this and that and everything going on in our country. And this is what everybody is relying on. In this country, not everybody's relying on the USA to win a World Baseball Classic to bring joy to their lives or whatever else. Like, that's just not a thing. So to say that, oh, no, they care as much as the other ones. No, I don't think so. Now, you can want it all you want. At the end of the day, it's still a game. You still have to execute. You still have to come up big in big moments and so forth. But I definitely think there is something to the two different mentalities and how it plays into a game.
Definitely. And I think you look at the way that, again, the USA played and the way that the coaches coached the entire tournament and the way that the fans consumed the game, it just didn't match the rest of those countries that were fighting for that. I think it was just kind of this idea that USA has this God-given right to baseball because they were the first ones to popularize the sport. Yep. But now you can see it's a global sport. These past two World Baseball Classics, Final Fours have been completely different. The championship games have been completely different. You are at this point where this game could potentially be as big as soccer if a lot of these countries keep playing and producing talent at that level. And if that becomes a global sport, you have to learn to want it more than some of these other teams at some point and truly want it more, not just pretend like and sound like you want it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Let's go to the third one.
And last up here, we're going to hear from Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk. He was discussing replacement refs potentially coming back to the NFL.
Well, we've seen this movie before. We know how it ends, but apparently they're making a sequel. We'll call it Fail Mary 2. Back in 2012, the NFL decided to be a good idea to lock out the game officials, hire replacements, let them run the games up until the Packers, Seahawks debacle on a Monday night. That ended the lockout pretty quickly. They're thinking about doing the replacement officials. Again, they've begun the process of identifying small college and high school officials to come in and work if the regular officials are locked out. Folks, we can't let this happen. We need to be loud about this. It's too important to the game. It's too important to the integrity of the game. It's too important to the integrity of the wagering on the game. Everyone who cares about pro football needs to stand up and shout down an effort, an idea, a mere possibility of using replacement officials again. We have seen this. It does not go well, and it's not good for anyone to have replacement officials in place of the people who do the job all the time.
It doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what the fans think. Y'all can be as loud as you want to be. But this is a negotiation between the National Football League and the union for the referees at the end of the day. You don't think the referees think they have a lot of leverage considering what happened the last time this went down? Of course they do. Do you think the NFL wants to go through a fiasco again with replacement refs at the end of the day? I would think not. Do I think we get to a point where in a regular season game we have replacement refs? No, I do not. Do I think we could get to a point where we have replacement refs in a preseason game or two and everybody starts sweating about it and they make mistakes and everybody loses their mind? That might happen. We might get to that point. I don't know. Like, for a teacher, I don't think they get paid enough. I don't care what you pay them. I'll still always say they don't get paid enough. Not to deal with the kids, like middle school kids and high school kids and all the drama that goes on with all that. No way. You couldn't pay me to go teach middle school. I don't care how much it is. No chance. It's not happening, right? Police officers, firefighters, people working in ambulances, stuff like that, first responders, not paid enough. There's so much craziness that goes on, like, no, danger that you go through. So I'm not going to sit here and compare umpires or referees to that necessarily. So I don't know if I could sit here and be like, oh, they're not getting paid enough, because they're under the most fire by far of anybody on a football field. It's going to be the referees that get talked about a lot. It's going to be the home plate umpire that's talked about a lot. Even with this ABS system, eventually people are going to run out of challenges, and then it's going to come down to home plate umpire on a good call or a bad call, and people are going to be mad at him. People are going to be mad at the manager for running out of challenges late in the game, and everybody's still going to be mad at the home plate umpire because you don't give them unlimited challenges. So it's still going to potentially come down to a guy making a call one way or the other in a World Series Game 7. He's going to miss a call like this last one, and it's going to cost somebody a World Series. And then there's really going to be big outrage. So what is the price to put on having to deal with all of that and calling the action in football at a crazy fast pace that's going on? Crazy fast pace. And NBA refs, same type of deal. So they're getting six figures. We already know that. But to what level, to how high does it become? Everybody's like, well, it should be a full-time job. Well, they're clearly all making enough money for it to be a full-time job where they don't have to work another job if they don't want. But as we've talked about before, everybody wants more than they make. Everybody wants to figure out a way to make more money than they have. So in most of these guys' minds who are lawyers and do everything else, they definitely want more than what they're making. So if you want to make this a job to where these guys aren't going to work somewhere else, pay them $1 million. And now watch the fan outrage. A referee, $1 million a year. Are you crazy? All the calls they get wrong, there's no way I'm paying him $1 million a year. And as I've stated time and time again, you are not going to convince me that making a referee full-time means that he's going to be any better come the fall than he is when he's not a full-time ref. What exactly is he going to do for the other 4, 5, 6 months out of the year when there's no NFL games? Oh, I'm going to watch film and become smarter. Right, that's great. But now when we're in live, real time, there's no way to simulate that. You can't do that without actually being out there playing at the NFL level. It's impossible. I don't know how you make them better when the games aren't going on. They're going to get better by being out there when there's regular season football games going on, or even preseason football games, which is not necessarily as quick of a pace probably, but still a pretty good pace, pretty good click. So there's a way to do that. And what did we do in the NFL? We said, we don't need all of these. And in fact, we're going to try and eliminate all of them at some point. So they're all regular season games. So now these referees aren't even going to get a preseason to figure out themselves. They're going to have to jump right in and potentially make even more mistakes earlier in the season, Charlie.
Well, and what makes the preseason so helpful to them, too, is you have so many more penalties in the preseason, or penalty opportunities to throw flags and practice seeing those calls, because these are players that aren't equipped at the same time to be that professional level here. You're seeing a lot of guys trying to get to that point. I think maybe the NFL, like, if you were to make them full-time, you could contract them out to the UFL and these other leagues potentially and have them practice in those leagues, but then you would probably want to own the UFL or the XFL, all these other side leagues, and have those as developmental leagues for not only your referees, but for players too. So maybe that's a way you could go, but at the same time, that's way more work to appease and get these refs under control, when right now, the past 2 years, I would argue the refereeing in the NFL has been pretty good, and the NFL could just get passes and pay these guys a little bit more money. Yeah, maybe not $1 million a year, but more than what they're getting, and just stave this off for 5 more seasons.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. He is Charlie Using over there, Steve Sparky Fiver. That was our fun segment, Charlie's Sounds of the Day. Coming up next, things that we missed on today's show. Give you all the recent scores, updates, results of the NCAA tournament. Look ahead at what the games are looking like coming up tonight. Plus, we'll have Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up coming up at the top of the hour, 5 to 6 o'clock, with a big old hunk of love. Tommy Wirtz hosting from 5 until 6 tonight. It's Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. This Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily out here at the Annex at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Just to watch the Potawatomi Sportsbook, huge area. Got couches and tables and chairs, back wall full of gambling kiosks. You can go and make your wagers on there. They have a table full of food, burgers, hot dogs, chips, candies, all kinds of stuff. Got a bar set up, mixed drinks, soda. I've been having a couple of Diet Pepsis out here while I've been out here. Charlie, I know you're surprised.
Shocked.
Shocked. Yeah, shocked. Absolutely. Also not shocked to hear that Habish and Rotier is the place to be. Again, it's one of those names that I can but guarantee you anybody listening to the sound of my voice has grown up hearing Habish their whole life, right? Your parents have talked about Habish. Your grandparents have talked about Habish. And now Habish Rotier, national reputation, hometown service. Now, your grandparents probably weren't around when they had 13 locations like they do now. But it takes time to continuously build. And not only have they built since 1930, kind of a mega power in Habish and Rotier and all these different locations across the state. And yeah, they've won a ton of cases in Wisconsin and record-setting cases and so forth. But what's made them so good are people like you and me. That's what makes them so successful. Why? Well, because we're just those average people that go to them for help when get hurt in a car accident or whatever the case may be. And then, they do right by us and get us what we deserve and work their tail ends off for us. And then what do? We then go and tell our friends about them. We give them a good Google review, or we go tell our neighbors or coworkers about them and so forth, right? And then through word of mouth, everybody then when they get into that situation realize, hey, you got to go to Habish.com if you're ever injured and need something. Experience matters when things get serious. And Habish has a lot of that. And that is what we're talking about. A law firm built right here in Wisconsin. Check them out today. Habish.com. Habish and Rotier. National reputation, hometown service. Charlie, let's get to it.
What story did Sparky miss talking about today on Wisconsin Sports Daily? Don't you worry. Sparky's got you covered now. Don't miss Milwaukee Admirals hockey this season. Don't just buy tickets. Invest in memories at MilwaukeeAdmirals.com.
All right, we got a few minutes left here. Get you updated on what's going on in the NCAA tournament. Arkansas up on Hawaii, 64-47. The story of this game, however, is what just happened in the last commercial break. Malik Thomas left this game with what looks like to be a knee injury of some sort. I was literally watching the game on this gigantic big screen here in the Annex, and he came down limping hard, got down the other side of the floor, and they said, okay, that's it. We got to get him out. So out he comes. For Arkansas. Arkansas is only playing 6 guys. That's all they're playing.
You can't really afford to lose one of them then.
So now you're going to be playing 5 guys because now Malik Thomas is out. Malik Thomas in this game, 6 of 10, 6 boards, 5 assists, 6 of 10, like I said, from the field, 14 points in 23 minutes. Darius Acuff Jr. has 15. I mean, they've got 4 of the 5 starters all in double figures in this game. And they've been in control of this game against Hawaii for a large part. Michigan State is up on North Dakota State, 61-35. That game's on TNT early in the second half of that one, about 14 and a half minutes to go. That Arkansas game, by the way, 15 minutes to go there. Games going on, or games that are finished, I should say. TCU upends Ohio State, a 9-8 mini upset, I guess, for TCU. I know a lot of people thought Ohio State might be capable of making a run, so there's probably some minor bracket burning going on there as far as a couple of losses. Nebraska destroys Troy, 76-47. They finally get a win in the tournament after a long time of not having it. Louisville takes care of South Florida, 83-79. That was a competitive game for most of the time. We all know about High Point beating Wisconsin, 83-82. Not exactly the way you wanted the season to end if you're John Blackwell and Nick Boyd. And see your time at Wisconsin come to an end, especially Blackwell, man. You just went through this last year with Tanji, and now you come back, you get Boyd, who I think you could argue is better than Tanji. And yet again, it happens again. So that's horrible. Duke over Siena. They trailed a majority of this game. Yeah, 116. That's what it was. Duke won, Siena 15 or 16 in this matchup. Siena came in with 23 wins. Duke came in with 32 wins in this game. A lot of people have Duke to win. their bracket. I'm one of them as well. Cam Boozer, 22 points, 13 boards, 3 assists. However, he was only 4 of 11 from the field and had 5 turnovers in this game for Duke. 5 of the 8 turnovers came from Cam Boozer, a guy that's expected to be a top 3 pick in the NBA draft lottery, Charlie.
It kind of feels like when we were talking about Team USA in the World Baseball Classic, this Duke team went into this game, kind of felt like a little lackluster. I think the main reason they stay in this one are guys like Dame Sarr and Isaiah Evans late on into that game, where both those dudes were playing really aggressive, fast-paced defense, and the Boozers just kind of fed off of that moving forward for the rest of this game. If they want to win all of their games moving forward, they got to start playing with more intensity, more purpose.
Caden Boozer, Cam Boozer's twin brother, who averages like 7 points a game, something like that. He was the guy today, 9 of 16 from the floor, 19 points, 5 assists, couple of rebounds, no turnovers for Caden Boozer. So he helped keep this thing alive for Duke. For Siena, they played with 5 guys, Charlie.
5 guys. That's it. They have another guy on the box score that says he got 0 minutes, 0 run. It was 5 guys that entire game. I don't know how more of those players. I don't know how more of those players didn't just get burnt out. I know they did by the end of the game, but looking at that team, they had a lot of bigger dudes on their roster that were on the court. I don't know how those dudes were just surviving as long as they did or didn't buckle as quickly as possible.
They got out rebounded Siena 43-31 in this game. They shot 38%. Duke shot 41%. 3-point shooting. They hit 4 more threes than Duke. 9 of 26. Duke 5 of 26. Again, you got out rebounded by 12 rebounds, and you barely lost that basketball game at the end. I mean, that is an unbelievable effort by Siena, and every bench player is going to hit the transfer portal because they didn't get to play in the game in which the coach decided to play all 5 guys. Vanderbilt and McNeese, that was a close game throughout. That was another 5-12 matchup. Vandy holds on to win that one 78-68. Still to come tonight, VCU and North Carolina. Howard and Michigan, that's another 16-1 matchup. Texas and BYU, the Bonsta, baby, the 6th seed. Everybody have eyes on that. That game coming up tonight on TBS. Texas A&M, St. Mary's, Penn in Illinois, St. Louis in Georgia, and Kennesaw and Gonzaga. That'll do it for us. My thanks to the Potawatomi Sportsbook and the Provide Fine folks taking care of us here at the Annex, the Potawatomi Casino Hotel, for hosting us. Enjoy the rest of your night. Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up coming up next. It has been Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Back at it again tomorrow afternoon at 2. Up next, Tommy Wirtz. Don't change that dial. Have a good night, Wisconsin. Toodles.